Hello and welcome to a short update on the parish finances for 2020 for the Staines Parish. I'm Chris and I'm one of the members of the Parish Finance Committee, and I'm going to lead you through today's short presentation. So essentially what we can see from this my first slide is that we've had a tough year in 2020. There's no doubt about that. Lots of parish life has been impacted. And lots of people's personal lives have also been massively impacted by COVID. So what did that mean for the parish? Well, for the parish, it meant that our income dropped substantially, obviously without Mass taking place on a regular basis, particularly through that middle part of the year, and also without having Easter in church last year. We've seen a significant drop in our income. That said, it has substantially shifted in the way that it's given. So we've had an awful lot of people who've moved on to online giving, more structured giving, which is brilliant. We thank you very much for your kind donations to continue to run the parish. On the other side of the coin, we've managed to also keep our expenditure fairly low, as Father Philip has kindly taken a couple of months off of his salary as we've been through the pandemic. And we've also, without having Mass, we've also made some savings on some other items that we would usually need. So there's some savings in there. As you'll be well aware, either from watching Mass online or managing to get into Mass in person, we've made substantial investment in the last year in our lighting. Now, you would expect that to show on this chart as a massive grey bar. The reason it doesn't is a technical financial thing, in that the way we do our accounting is something called a cash-based accounting system. It essentially means that cost is going to appear in the 2021 numbers rather than in the 2020 numbers. It's just a function of the way things are accounted for, so we're fully aware of that and we're tracking that as it comes in. So it's definitely been spent. The lighting has definitely been done. It looks fantastic. But it's the reason you don't see it in this chart is that it's fallen into 2021. The ultimate aim of the parish, finance-wise, is to keep the blue line that we can see on this chart above the orange bar. So even though we've had a bad year in 2020 because of COVID, what we can see is that we're substantially still making a surplus. So we're still generating more money than we are spending, which is a great position to be in because it enables us to do things like the lighting project, the toilets project the couple of years ago, and it means we're creating a little bit of a fund that we can then use to continually upkeep, maintain, and develop the church. So we're now looking forward, and as a committee, we're starting to look at where we might spend some of that money. There's a few ideas around, particularly maybe some redecoration now that the lighting project's been done, some upgrades in the internet Mass offering through new cameras and technology on that front. So there's a few areas that we may look to invest some smaller amounts in this year and then into the future. But we have, because of your generosity, we have the funds to be able to do that. If we look specifically at a couple of the different bits and pieces, first off, we're going to look at income. So usually we wouldn't show these charts in Mass. You might see them in the parish and council sessions if they were running, but just to give you a slightly wider flavour today, we put a couple of these slides together. So effectively, if I walk you through what you can see, the blue bar is the actual for 2020. And you can see it broken down by all the different subcategories. So we're looking specifically at what the money that's come into the parish. So you can see the blue bar is 2020. The orange bar next to it is what happened last year, so that's 2019. And then as a parish, we create two budgets. We create a silver budget, which we pitch at being realistic and what we should be looking to achieve. And then we have a stretching budget, which is a gold budget that says, okay, if we had more money, where would we like to spend it? How would we like to change some things? So we have two budgets that we run on an annual basis, and you can see both of them here. Effectively, the point I want to make is you can see that if I take envelopes as the first example, you can see that substantially lower income from envelopes this year than last year. The church was closed. COVID is the main reason. It is the biggest single thing in our financials at the moment. And you can see But then by contrast, the standing orders, which includes all the electronic payments and anything generated through the Just Giving site and any of those other electronic means, has skyrocketed to being by far our single largest income area in last year. So it's a great position, right? And this is something that we as a finance committee were looking to try and shift towards in the long term. Standing orders work better for the parish because there's less admin, and we can then also get the tax back on it. Whereas loose plate in particular is the other end of the spectrum, where we get a little bit less tax back, so there's a little bit less income, and it also tends to fluctuate a bit more. Now, obviously, everybody has their own personal circumstances. Whatever way you give, we thank you for doing that in its entirety. This shift is really good, and we're hoping that this continues into the future. We've obviously made some assumptions about where we think 2021 is going to go. We expect it'll probably step off a little bit in terms of ratio, but overall the total value will come up. Tax refunds, if I run quickly through some of the other pieces, tax refunds looks very similar to last year. Christmas, again, Christmas and Easter, again, looks similar. We did have a bit of a slight benefit in that we had 2 Christmases because of some of the timings but obviously we didn't have any masses at Easter, so it kind of nets itself out. Catechetics and parish activities very low in terms of income because a lot of them didn't happen in 2020. And then donations and a little bit of other income, which includes things like furlough payments and a few other little bits and pieces. So that's the money coming into the parish. If we look at the money going out of the parish, we can see where our expectations were. So building costs we're largely in line with. So this is everyday maintenance and repairs. So this is things like a pane of glass is broken, needs replacing, or health and safety have said we should do X, Y, and Z, and just kind of fixing those remedial issues. So that's roughly in line with where we were expecting it to be and what it is last year. Rates and utilities, slightly lower. Largely this is driven by the fact we were missing one invoice, but effectively broadly in line, so no great concerns there. People cost, you can see, is down on last year. This is largely because Father Philip very kindly took a couple of months without salary during the pandemic, just because obviously he recognised that everybody was struggling and he wanted to show solidarity, which was extremely generous. You can obviously see our gold budget has a really high people number because there's some assumptions in the gold budget about what we could do with extra money, and where we might invest it in people is one of those opportunities, but let's not worry too much about that. Parish costs are where we've made a lot of saving this year. Parish costs obviously being the running and the everyday costs of the parish. Without doing mass for a lot of the year and with that sort of thing, it's meant that the running costs have been substantially lower. So there's a big saving there. Office costs largely in line. Donations features around the bit that's missing out of there is the school Christmas fair, which usually comes into the parish accounts and then goes out through the form of a donation. So that's the bit that's missing. Obviously it didn't happen in 2020, although we're looking forward to having it back in 2021. And then other, which would include any project spend, as you can see, is very small. And again, just on the lighting project, we have had the bills, we have paid the contractors as per the terms of all our contracts. That cost has just landed in 2021 rather than in 2020, so it's a timing issue. And so looking at some numbers then, we can see that we've got a total income about halfway down the page of about £71,000 in the year. We've got expenses of about £49,000, which gives us a very healthy surplus of about 20,000. This is obviously a great result for the parish and something we should be really proud of. It gives us lots of opportunities and lots of things we can do with the money. How does it compare to last year? Well, obviously, because of COVID, our income is down. It's down by about £25,000, but our costs are down by about £29,000. So it's actually worked out in a fairly good route. In terms of our budget, income is down versus budget, as you would expect because of COVID. Expenses are much better than budget, both due to savings, but also the timing of the project cost for the lighting. So that's the other bit that's happening. So overall, a great position to be in. I think it enables us to do many things within the parish. So we can look at investing our money, and we can do that sort of thing. So the parish bank account currently has around about 126,000. Obviously, once we take out the spend on the lighting, that will come down, but it will still be significantly above our agreed held level of £50,000 that, as a parish finance committee, we believe we must maintain just in case of an emergency. So we're in a really good shape from a financial perspective. I think it just goes to say that thank you once again for all of your money and your commitment to the parish over the last year, and thank you for taking the time to listen to this recording. Hopefully you found it valuable. As always, your finance committee are more than welcome, are more than happy to answer any of your questions or answer any of the concerns that you've got. Feel free to make yourself known, and we'll take your questions and go from there. But hopefully you've enjoyed this short video. And as I say, any questions, please let us know. Thank you ever so much for watching, and we look forward to seeing you as the COVID restrictions unwind and we all get back into the normal cycle of mass and parish life. Thanks very much.